What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. It is Monday. We are back to work. Man, I already need the break. As I told you guys, last week, one of my coworkers has been removed from our unit. So got in this morning, had one-on-one with my boss, got a lot going on. Man, it's been just a wild couple weeks for me. But you're digging through the stuff, like Sunday night, we had a great show last night, lots of buzz. But when you're creating the rundown, it's really, really hard to find topics to talk about in this like dead period from about a week ago to the games. It's just kind of everybody's in their foxhole. They're doing their things. They're training. They're getting ready for the games. And just not a lot of stuff is like popping out there, right? And so like trying to be creative with fact or fiction, coming up with just scenarios to talk about, things like that. But yeah, so, and then you come in Monday morning and I'm like, well, what am I going to talk about today? I have a list of some things I kind of jotted down. And then 15 minutes before the show, we're hit with the breaking news, if you've not already seen it, that one Danielle Brandon has shuffled the deck with coaches to prep with a new crew for the CrossFit Games. Danielle Brandon steps away from El Senevor to be coached by Adam Neiffer and Jesse Bifano, who have tagged in to help her over the next month. Brandon and Senevor and their partnership on good terms as Neiffer and Bifano take the baton, coaching her for the 2025 CrossFit Games, which will take place in less than 3 weeks in Albany, New York. Coach L actually says, it's been an awesome 2 years working with Danielle, nothing but positive things to say about our time together, wishing her all the best and excited to see how far Adam and Jesse can take her from here. If you're a coach that has helped build an athlete to the pinnacle of the CrossFit Games, the last thing you want to do is be excited for someone else to take it across the goal line. The last thing you want to see. There's no way that Coach L means any of that. Any of that. There's no possible way. It could. To work with her for 2 years. And from all accounts, working with Danielle day to day is not the easiest coaching job in the business. She is fiery. She both is a fierce competitor and sometimes emotionally immature in the gym. Those things together turn into a very volatile situation. And to get through 2 years of that, to then hand it off to somebody else for 3 weeks, never going to be cool to do that. Never going to be cool. So, Denise Moore says, never seems counterproductive to change coaches so close to the games. Not the first time she's done it, which is what is completely wild. She did this 2022, where there was a separation between Underdogs Athletics and her, and she went to Brute to finish for 3 weeks before that games. So this is not the first time for Danielle. And she is like, her window is closed. Her window is closed. You can't keep sabotaging yourself this close to the games. And I'm not saying that she's responsible for the Gooch situation, as Lito is saying. 1,000 had to do with the recent Gooch situation. It probably did. It probably did. I don't know who's to blame there. I don't know if Matt and her were in a relationship. I don't know if Matt was just being the crazy stalker. I don't know. Like, I know none of that. It's all speculation. And that's why I've tried to avoid talking about it very much, because I don't know which side is the real story. But the fact that it leads to her walking away from a coach 3 weeks before the games for the second time in her career as a perennial top 10 performer at the games, her window is closed. You can't keep doing this. This will be her fourth coach since 2021. 2021, she went to Kotler like January of 2021. And then in three weeks before the games in 22, left Kotler, went to Matt Torres, worked with him at Brute for a year. All of a sudden, with no announcement, she switches from Torres to Coach L. Coach L for 2 years. Now, 3 weeks before the games, she is exited to another coach of Adam Knifer and Jesse Bifano. So, Terry, it's all speculation. We don't know if Matt Torres asked her to leave, if Coach L asked her to leave, or if she walked away on her own. It seems as if in the wording in the post for Morning Chalk Up, and again, I have my biases against Morning Chalk Up and the way they write things. So I will take it with a grain of salt, but the way it is written, you would tend to believe that she walked away, not kicked out. But again, that is just speculating by the way it is written. And if you trust the way it's written or the narrative, where they got the narrative from, and is it reliable or not? So there we are with all that. But just a crazy, crazy story. Denise Moore, I am not informed where the new coach is located. So Adam Knifer and Jesse Bifano are Justin Medeiros' coaches. They also coach Trista Smith, and that is up in up there, Pacific Northwest. They own CrossFit Fort Vancouver. And I think it's in Utah. But I'm pretty sure it's in Utah, but I don't know for sure. Aaron Fraser, finally DB talk. I guess. Can I just tell you guys, StreamYard has changed something about 3 days in the last 5. I come in here and my screen is small. It's just bizarre what they're doing. But anyway, that's for me to worry about, not you guys. I'll stop sharing that. Okay. There we go. So, yeah. So the other thing is, it doesn't seem like a long-term commitment from Adam and Jesse. They basically just says that they are going to help her get through the CrossFit Games in the article. It does not say that this is a long-term commitment. So I don't even know, like, the speculation on Savon in the chat was that she is moving. I don't know if she's going to move. If it's just a short-term thing to get her through the games, is it worth a full-fledged move? up there because I don't think it's going to be long term. The other thing that came up was she should have called Kotler to see if he would coach her since that's where she's had her best success. I don't think Kotler would take her back. I don't. I think that there would need to be a much longer conversation about things which they don't have before the games. I just don't, knowing Justin, I don't think he would take her back without a very long conversation. And I'm not even sure that would help at this point. Sorry about that. Aaron says, would Torres take her back? It looks like Torres is ready to take her back any moment now. But who knows? Meredith says, Adam seems like such a level-headed guy. Hopefully even a short-term partnership with him will be helpful for her. Yeah, I just don't know anymore. I would have thought that with Coach L. L is very laid back, I don't think she's getting anything different than she would have got with Coach L. So I don't know. And at the end of the day, Adam's been with Justin for so long. Justin has to be his priority at the games. I mean, they've been together since Justin was a teenager. There's no way that he is going to give up his time and his dedication to Justin to coach Danielle at the games. Now, how much Justin needs at this point at the games, I don't know, but his priority has to be Justin. Maybe Tristan Patrick can take care of her. He seems cool. Yeah, I would love to see that. Aaron says, I would guess it's less about Coach L and more about getting away from Brute. I don't disagree with you on that at all. I think it's pretty spot on. Another question I have is, how did the morning chalk up announce this before the spin? I don't know. I think that the spin is blocked by Danielle and probably some people there. I don't know. That's a great question. Corey says, Alito, because she gave it to MCU, I bet a week's pay on that. I don't think she gave it to MCU. I think that Brute gave this to MCU because the quotes are from Coach L. There are no quotes from Danielle. So I think Brute made the announcement that she has left and to let everybody know that she's no longer under our roof. You got to read between the lines, but the quotes are from Coach L. They're not from Danielle. So unless there's a longer article with some quotes from Danielle, and I haven't had time to look on the MCU website to see about that, my bet is Brute gave this to Morning Chalk Up. And there's still a group of people in the CrossFit space that believe that Morning Chalk Up is the big news source, especially on the affiliate side. They believe that the Morning Chalk Up is the news source in the space. I think some of us who have been around longer and are more in tune with what's going on know that that is no longer the case. But there's a lot of people out there that believe Morning Chalk Up is the source for news in the CrossFit space. So. Solid theory, Scott. I'm glad I don't actually bet on anything besides myself. There you go. Yeah, especially a week's pay. Because I would have taken you up on the week's pay. I don't this is gonna and who knows? We could be all wrong. It could have been leaked by lab management. And then they went and got and Coach L was the one person that responded to Morning Chalk Up. I don't know. It could have been her representatives that did this. I don't think that Danielle alone is savvy enough to release this information where she wants it to be. But that's my personal opinion. But I want to I want to ask you guys, like, do you think that Danielle's days of being a perennial top 10 athlete are now over? Whether this was her doing or someone else's doing, it is the fourth coach change. We talk about this with Sarah Sigmundsdottir when she was coach jumping and attacked her mercilessly. Do you think that this has really ended her shot at being a legit contender for the rest of her career? Meredith wants to know how old she is. Let me Google that quickly. They stopped putting ages on the CrossFit game site, it looks like. So she would have been about 22 when she came in. And she competed 2021. She's got to be 27 or 28 at this point, is where I would guess. Because she did 4 years of track in college, and then she jumped into CrossFit in 2020. And so that's 5 more years. Add a year for weird stuff. I think that ends up being about 28. Shanna Bunce, I think it depends on if she can keep a coach for longer than a few years. She has the talent. At one time, Justin Kotler told me she was the most talented athlete in the field. But she needed more than that. She needed more than talent. And I don't think she can keep a coach for very long. And how many coaches are left? I mean, she's spinning through them pretty fast. So I don't think she can keep a coach for a couple years. Aaron Fraser, she is top 10, but not a contender. No, Gabby, Laura, Gazan. Yeah, she's probably a top 10 this year just for where she's at. Maybe. Denise, I think DB always wants to keep everyone guessing. Well, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you have to perform, and you have to dedicate yourself to your craft. I'm just not sure she's there. I don't think she is there, period. So, in my opinion, the window's closed. She will never contend again at this point. Because at some point, Gazan's going to be back. Gabby's going to be back. You have this crop of young, phenomenal athletes coming up. I just think that her days are over as a contender, and soon probably no longer a top 10 athlete. Lito, I agree. Top 10 and very talented. Obviously, mental game is not there, but also strength isn't. And I feel like with certain athletes, if they haven't gotten strong in X number of years, they never will. She was getting strong. She was building that up, and then her back went. And now she's had continued back issues as well. So, yeah. Ken Walter Sevy's been running late. Can you move the lunch hour back 30 minutes? Dude, I wish I could. I wish I could hand in my retirement papers and just do this and be able to do this whenever I wanted. But I am stuck to my lunch hour. So there you have. Judy Reed, what's going on? She tells me, tell the state of Ohio, Scott. Yeah, I don't think after having a coworker fired on Friday, I'm in the position to say anything right now. Herd Athletics, good to see you in the comments. Had a great conversation with Carolyn after the show last night. Excited for some things there. And now that's all I can ever, whenever I see Herd Athletics, all I can hear is herd. Scott, I heard a rumor that you were an extra on the film American Pie. Nope. Sorry. Just tell Sevon to end by 12:15. Yeah. He's been really like long-winded lately. He's gone on and on and on, but he's had some good shows too. Sometimes it's really hard to stop listening to then come down here and set this up and get going. But yeah, it is what it is. It's crossover. As I told you guys, I started doing this just as practice to be able to talk to a camera without having someone to bounce things off of. And actually, I think what I'm finding over the last couple of weeks is it's given me a freedom to say whatever's on my mind and know that it won't have an impact on anybody that I'm hanging out with. So it actually allows me now some freedom in this vein to just say what I think and not worry about what my co-hosts think. And then we have the Sunday night show for that. And we can still do the bounce off and the arguments and the debates, which is great. But here now I can just say what I feel. And I think that's what this show has given me, which I have never had in the past, as I get more comfortable talking to a camera as opposed to Carolyn and Jamie. Retiring in January, told a director at work on Thursday that I was disappointed in him pushing my limits. Yeah. The closer I get to that door, Denise, I know the bigger my mouth will get, for sure. Ken Walters, the other one I can't get out of my brain is the ending wrap after the dense updates. So here's the problem. I get up to pee in the middle of the night. Jenny's update is in my queue. And then to get back to sleep, I kind of play it. And it's fine because she keeps a nice pace, a nice volume level throughout her updates. But then that wrap comes on, and if I'm starting to fade off, it pops me awake immediately. So I need to just start not hitting the start button on that until I actually get up in the morning. So what else do we got here? Anyway, okay. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the title of the show is Broken Promises. Last night on the show, we had a fact or fiction that WFP had promised us new and creative ways of promoting athletes. I gave my take on that last night. Again, Hiller clipped it and then showed the data behind it. And to see that the followers haven't really significantly changed from the time the WFP came into play till now shows that they're not really advancing. They're not really advancing the exposure of the athletes like they promised. But the other thing is they've shown a lack of creativity. And I have a theory behind that. And here we go. When you try to build something out of tragedy, you keep things safe. And because of that, all they have done is done retreads of things that have been done in the past. And what I mean by that is Lazar dies at the games. WFP wants to push and take on the CrossFit Games. And I'm not going by what they say. I'm going by what I think is actually happening. And as they go to take on the CrossFit Games, and they can't push the limits of what they're doing because they need to play it safe, and they want the old followers of CrossFit to come with them. So they bring on the Buttery Bros to do the media. They bring on Tommy Marquez to do an update show. It is all the same people that we have seen in the past. And the only people that are performing at a level with excitement are the couple new people that they brought on. However, because you're building this on the premise that a tragedy happened and that was at the fault of the other company, you can't push the limits because you're afraid you're going to piss people off. And that's where WFP is right now. They want to take on the games after what happened, but they're afraid to push the limits because they're afraid to piss people off. Because you're building your company on the fact that people are pissed off at the other company. And because of that, you can't be new and you can't be creative. And so they promised us that was what they were bringing to the table. It was going to be a new way of showing off these athletes, getting them more exposure in new and creative and innovative ways. And none of that has happened. The only promise that they have come through on, and that I don't know if the checks have cleared, is it to pay the athletes. Initially, I was a supporter of the WFP, not because of what happened at the games, but because I want a season that makes sense. And they put together a season that actually made sense to me. But all this stuff that's going on around it, they're losing me as a supporter. And they're losing me faster and faster as we get through the rest of the season. I wanted to see a season structure that was basic and simple succeed. So at some point, hopefully, CrossFit would take that and move forward with it. Or hand off the sports side to somebody who could make that work. But I don't see any other than just the structure of it itself. Nothing else is playing out the way that they have promised or shared that they wanted to deliver to us. So that is my theory on why there's nothing new, there's nothing creative. Patrick Clark, because you're consuming media attacking the WFP without interaction with WFP directly. I'm watching all the WFP media. They promised new creative and innovative ways to promote the athletes. And I've watched everything that they've put out, and none of it has met that standard. None of it. I was supportive of the WFP. I wanted it to succeed. I wanted it to show that you could have a simple season that makes sense and make it work. And it hasn't. It's not working because none of the promises about this idea of a new, you've had a dead part of your season for a couple months where you could put out more and more content to get people hyped, and nothing has come. The season is still occurring. I understand that. Mike. But what I'm saying is, okay, I think like everything is falling on deaf ears here because there was a promise made that what they were going to do was going to be new, innovative, and different, and none of that has happened. And that is what I'm commenting on. And I have a theory behind it. I didn't say it failed. I said the promise was broken. So that's my thought. Andrew Hiller, PC, respectfully, that's a horseshit take. No one gets to have direct contact with HQ when they talk about what they are up to. And I have criticized CrossFit HQ just as equally on the content they're putting out. So I don't know why you're pitting me against everything. I'm just being honest as to what I'm seeing. Patrick Clark, was that promise made on a timeline? Well, if it doesn't come soon, then you're going to lose all the people that were interested. So if your timeline's longer than this, that's a really shitty timeline. Halpin, this was in a podcast with Will. And one of the benefits that they were going to bring was new and innovative ways to promote the athletes. So anyway, that's my theory on that. The other thing is Metcon Rush happened this weekend, and I have a theory about this as well. I love Metcon Rush. It was one of the coolest little competitions I call mid-majors that I've always wanted to go to because I think they do a great job with setup, with location, and they get a ton of people to come every year. They had a lack of what I would call mid to upper level semifinal athletes this year. And I wonder if that is because the CrossFit game season gave multiple opportunities for those types of athletes to compete to try to make the CrossFit games. And because of that, there's no way they could get it back up for like a mid-major like Metcon Rush. And if we continue to go down this path, is that going to affect these mid-majors that are like local competitions done on a grander scale? And I'm anxious to hear people's thoughts on that because tomorrow I'm going to have the director of Fight for the Fittest on the show with lunch. They have actually hit new levels of participation by doubling participation this year for Fight for the Fittest out on Long Island. And I want to know what they're doing or what they're seeing in the level of athletes they're getting at this point in the season with that kind of structure to the CrossFit Games season. So I'm excited to talk to him to find out about that. And he's also going to be part of the team that is bringing the United Grid League to New York next season. And so We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. Tristan Patrick, there are far too many competitions in this season format. I believe that is to be true. Okay. And we're still going back on the WFP versus whatever. Barry McCockiner, who's defending it? Scott and others have criticized HQ, but you hear what you want to. I've criticized HQ about their content as well. If you've heard my reviews of Road to the Games, they haven't been good. They lack story. They're done. They're well produced, which is well and fine. But there's no story to them. But I would say the same thing about the World Fitness Project's stuff, content as well. Other than the Laura Horvat episode that they did, the storylines have been weak in theirs as well. Wow. There's so many comments. I'm having a hard time. Herd Athletics. Sam is a great guy doing awesome stuff in our New York Metro. He is awesome. I had him on the show a little over a year ago, probably. And we stayed in touch regularly throughout the year. I try to promote all the stuff that they have and post whatever I can. He's really good. Doug Reed, instead of being defensive, maybe hear what Scott is saying. He is not attacking anyone. I am kind of attacking content creators. I think that we have created a formula that is being repeated over and over and over again, and nobody is trying anything new. And I have to give Hiller credit. Hiller is doing something new. He is telling stories when he goes to these people's houses and he talks to them. It's not just workout porn and training sessions. It's actually a story about the individual. Herd Athletics, we just dropped our date for Herd Fest. Cool. Clock, I did not roll out of bed. This is just what they're getting today. Andrew Hiller, I'm kind of attacking content creators. All right. With that, guys, it is actually my lunch hour is just about up. It was good hanging with you. We can start this back up tomorrow or Wednesday. Tomorrow, I am having Sam on from, yeah, sure. Fight for the Fittest. And we're going to talk about that and the New York Wolves coming to the United Grid League. That'll be tomorrow's show. Then we're going to cook it up Cajun with Corey on Wednesday. And then I told you guys last night, this weekend there could be a change. And what that is we are going to move to Monday night. From Sunday to Monday night. I have concert tickets on Sunday night. So we're going to move the show to Monday. But with that, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And love the conversation going on in the chat, man. This has been a fun show. Can't wait to do another one tomorrow. See you guys. Peace out.